We're going to talk about the top 3 things that I got wrong about model railroading in today's video. Hey everyone, I'm Matt. I'm back, and in today's Rail Rambling, we're going to be talking about the top 3 things that I got wrong about model railroading. So let's get right into it. With number 1, size actually does matter, but not in the way that you might think. This is a subject that has been talked about quite a bit over the years, and I'm just going to share some of my sort of recent thoughts and some things I learned recently having built a small model railroad. For most of my model railroading career, I have built small model railroads, small shelf style layouts, end scale layout on the door, that kind of thing. Always kind of jealous of the guys that were doing the big layouts. When I finally moved into this house, I was able to do the big layout, the big room size layout, right? We're talking about layouts that are, medium to large, layouts that take up an entire room, layouts that have a full space dedicated to just the layout. And although I really love this layout, I love the size of it, I love watching trains move from one scene into another scene into another scene. Having gone back to building this small module layout again, after taking years off and building something big, I gotta say, I don't know that you can beat the small layout. Just from, it has every advantage going for it and very few disadvantages. It's more cost effective. It's faster to get from construction to wiring to laying track to ballasting to modeling. The compactness really kind of allows you to sort of focus, and it's really wonderful for that kind of thing. I think where some people kind of run into trouble is when they're trying to build something into a compact space that doesn't really fit the compact space. So like if you're trying to take 20 miles worth of prototype and squeeze it into a couple of 5-foot modules, yeah, that's not going to work very well for you, right? But if you find a good prototype that fits the size of this, you can have a lot of fun operations, fun scenery, a lot of great stuff going on in a small space if you pick the right prototype. But a good part of me thought, after working on my larger layout and then going to the smaller layout, that I would kind of get bored quickly. But the honest truth of it is you really don't. You're moving from one thing to the next so quickly that you're just having a lot of fun along the way. Boredom never really gets a chance to set in. It's not like you're laying down, your 30th turnout or whatever it might be, right? You get one thing done, you move on to the next, and it goes very quickly. There's another big thing about small model railroads that I'm kind of discovering as well, and that is they are what I like to call, what I have dubbed the bug out layout. There's this part inside of me, and maybe it's inside of some of you as well, that's like, what if I have to move? What if my job takes me to a new place? What if, God forbid, I lose my job and I have to downsize? What if I get a divorce? Don't let my wife hear you say that. But there's that part of me in my head, and maybe it is for you as well. It's like always going like, what if? I can't take this with me. This is kind of purpose built for this room. This is pretty large. This is not going with me to my next house, should I ever have to do that. But something like this gets loaded up in the back of a van. I can take this with me should I need to go to, say, an apartment. And so having that peace of mind that you never have to leave this behind really energizes me when it comes to wanting to put a lot of time and effort into this, because I know this is something that I won't have to throw into a trash bin one day. This will be with me, God forbid, my whole life, and then my children will be the ones throwing it in the trash bin after I die. All right, the second thing I got wrong about model railroads is backdrops. I'm one of those people who are a big fan of backdrops. Backdrops make your layout feel more realistic, larger, and therefore more fun. And on a shelf layout like this where you're up against a wall, I think that definitely is the case. You don't want to necessarily see your concrete block behind all your great scenery and modeling that you're doing in front of it, right? But in situations where maybe you've got a peninsula that sticks out into a room, or if you got something like this, you've got like a modular layout that you can, take with you on the road or whatever, ditch the backdrop, especially if you have a small layout. Ditch the backdrop. If it's something you can pull out in the middle of the room and then access from all sides, go for that. Because, and here's the big thing that I kind of learned, is with a backdrop, if I had a backdrop on this thing, I would only be able to view my layout from one side, which is fine, right? If you're against the wall, that's how you do it. But I'm limiting my viewing angles quite a bit. There's something really great about being able to run a train and then viewing that train from all different angles, from all different sides, from the left side, the right side, looking down the lengthwise at the trains that's coming at you down the full length of the track. And those additional viewing angles, especially on a small layout, really help to increase the size of it, because now you have a lot more options for viewing the action, as opposed to kind of looking into a window when you're just looking at it from one angle. Having all these other angles really opens up opportunity for modeling, because now you can model from multiple sides and kind of get something that looks great and feels great from multiple angles. Now the big downside to not having a backdrop is when you do take pictures, you see like the rest of the room in the shot, and that can be distracting in pictures. And I've got some ideas for solutions for that. I'll share that in an upcoming video. But honestly, when you're here in front of the layout and you're operating it, and then you're able to kind of walk around and look at it from different angles, you're not looking at the backdrop. You're looking at the action that's happening right in front of you. You're focusing on that, and anything in the backdrop, that's not something you care about really in the moment. In the moment, you're really just enjoying what's happening, on the railroad. And for that reason, I think backdrops can be overrated. If you've got a small layout, considering ditching that backdrop. If you've got a peninsula, consider, do I really need a backdrop in the middle of this peninsula? Can I use just a line of trees or a hill or something in order to sort of give that separation between like one side of the peninsula versus the other side of the peninsula? Can I model it in such a way that I don't need that backdrop? It'll open up the room quite a bit, make the room feel larger, more comfortable, make the layout even feel a little bit larger as well. Just give you just more opportunities to take a look at things from a different angle that you wouldn't get if you had a big old sheet of hardboard blocking the way. And the third thing I got wrong about model railroading is layout height. These tall layouts that we tend to build, in this case, this is I think 52 inches to the tops of the rails, are great if you're going to stand up and walk around the room and follow your train along. I understand why we do it. I like it. Don't get me wrong, I'm doing it here. But it comes with some downsides. And the biggest downside of having a tall model railroad is not being able to do this. Being able to sit down and operate a model railroad from a seated position, it is so nice. Maybe I'm getting old, but I like to be able to kind of sit and take a load off my feet at the end of a work day and just kind of run some trains and be at a level that I would be if I was standing up. But now I'm sitting here, I'm comfortable. I have this little, I think I paid $35 for this on Amazon, a little stool that I can wheel around with me and just go anywhere I need to go with my model railroad and follow my trains. It's very comfortable. And I built this layout, this height, for a couple of reasons. First of all, this is going with me to train shows, and I want to be able to, I want kids to be able to walk up to it and take a look at it and really appreciate it. Something tall like this, they can't appreciate it. They can't see any of the models or anything that's going on a tall layout. So being able to get the layout down low enough that they can take a look at it, that's a big plus. Also, when you got something that's this thin, if it's too high, it just becomes top heavy. That's kind of scary. And the other reason why I built it this short is because I wanted to be able to wheel it underneath my my big layout, and so I needed to be at a certain height to be able to get it kind of underneath it there as well. But yeah, if you have a large layout and you know you're following a train from one scene to another, to be able to walk alongside of it, sure, that makes sense. But if you have a layout where it's like a lot of switching and you're spending most of your time just in one little area working on something, man, having the ability to just kind of like just sit down and then just work this area, it makes working on the layout so comfortable as well. Because we spend way more time working on our layout than operating it, right? And so to be able to sit here and work on something instead of having to just be constantly standing working on something, I feel like I'm much more comfortable. I can work for longer. I enjoy myself a lot more while I'm working. You know, I'm down here at 10 o'clock, midnight, working on my layout. I'm seated, I'm comfortable. I'm not getting tired on my feet and wanting to go to bed. So there you go, folks. Those are the 3 things that I got wrong about model railroading. Hopefully that stirs something in your mind and gets you kind of thinking differently about this hobby that we all love so much here. You know, obviously, just because I say it doesn't make it gospel. There's certainly many different ways of approaching the hobby. I'm just telling you a little bit about what I've come to know about myself and what I enjoy about model railroading and how that maybe differs in some ways from the conventional wisdom. Thank you all for stopping by and checking out this video. Like it, share it with others if you do like it, and I'll see you all in another video.